The day I realized my own front door might get rekeyed without me. I was standing on my porch, watching a locksmith lift a drill toward my deadbolt while a city inspector flipped through paperwork like this was routine. Linda Parker, our HOA president, smiled at me over her clipboard like she'd already won, and then the inspector asked one simple question that made her face drop. Who uploaded this owner consent at 9:12 a.m.? I moved into Pine Hollow Estates because I wanted quiet. Not fancy quiet, not gated community quiet, just normal. A place where the loudest thing in my day is a lawnmower 2 houses down, and Pine Hollow looked like a postcard. Neat sidewalks, trimmed hedges, the kind of neighborhood where people wave a little too hard and ask where you went to college before they ask your name. I didn't tell anyone what I did for work. I'm a cop, but I've learned people don't hear police officer and think, oh, cool. They think drama or favors or grudges, so I kept it simple. I'm Mark. I work odd hours. End of story. The HOA didn't let me stay invisible for long. It started with an email. Bright, cheerful subject line, too many exclamation points. Something about a neighborhood solidarity initiative, a temporary family placement program, and how participation is strongly encouraged. That phrase, strongly encouraged, felt like a threat wearing perfume. A week later, there's a meeting in the clubhouse. Folding chairs, stale cookies, a slide deck nobody asked for. Linda stands at the front like she's running a courtroom, not a neighborhood gathering. She's mid-40s, perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect smile that never touches her eyes. The kind of woman who says with all due respect right before she tries to ruin your life. She clicks to a slide about host homes and says, we'll be coordinating placement for families who need a clean, safe environment. 2 weeks, maybe 3. The board will manage everything. Then she looks straight at me and adds, some homeowners have already volunteered. I didn't raise my hand. I didn't nod. I just sat there. After the meeting, she corners me like it's casual. Mark, right. Welcome again. It's wonderful you're willing to help, like she's thanking me for something I never offered. I told her politely I'm not hosting anyone. Her smile twitched. Not gone, just dented. The next afternoon, my doorbell camera catches her on my porch, holding a plate of cookies, standing exactly where the lens can see her best side. She talks sweet like we're old friends. I'm so grateful, truly. My sister's family will be quiet, and the kids are well behaved. 2 weeks and you won't even notice. I stared at her through the glass and said, Linda, I'm not doing this. She leaned in a little, lowering her voice like she was giving me insider information. Mark, it's part of being a good neighbor. Pine Hollow has standards. I have boundaries, I said, and closed the door. That's when the paper started. An email from the property management company hits my inbox. Host acknowledgement form. My name typed neatly at the top, and the box that says owner agrees already checked like I'd signed it and forgotten. I felt my stomach turn, not because it was scary, because it was sloppy, like someone thought I was dumb enough to just shrug and accept it. I replied in writing. Short, clear, no consent, no key access, no entry, and I asked for the exact section of the HOA bylaws that gave them the right to put strangers in my home. 2 hours later, a glossy welcome host home packet appears on my doorstep. It has a move-in schedule, a cleaning checklist, a lockbox code slot blank like they expected me to fill it out. And at the bottom, Linda's signature printed in thick black ink, President HOA. It wasn't a misunderstanding anymore. It was an attempt. The next move was classic Linda turn the pressure up and pretend it's policy. She started sending violation notices. Failure to comply with community initiative, refusal to provide safety access. She even tried to call it an emergency placement requirement, which is a phrase I'm pretty sure she made up in her car on the way to the mailbox. Then came the knock that wasn't a knock. I wake up to engine noise and see a white van in my driveway. 2 guys in work shirts, a locksmith, and behind them Linda standing on the sidewalk like a general watching troops. One of the guys holds up a work order. We're here to rekey and install a lockbox, authorized by the HOA. Linda cuts in loud enough for the neighbor's curtains to twitch. Go ahead. He's been difficult, but the board approved it. I stepped outside and kept my voice calm because anger gives people excuses. You are not changing my locks. There is no owner permission. If you touch that door, you're trespassing. The locksmith hesitated, looking between us like he'd rather be anywhere else. Linda snapped, just do your job. So I did mine. I called 911 and said very plainly, "There's an attempt to unlawfully rekey my residence under false authorization. I need an officer to respond and document." When the patrol unit arrived, Linda put on a show, hands clasped, concerned expression. "Officer, he's refusing legal compliance. We're just enforcing HOA rules." The officer looked at me and asked the only question that mattered. "Did you authorize a lock change?" "No," I said, "and I'd like an incident number." Linda's face tightened when she heard that. People like her hate records. They thrive in phone calls and hallway conversations where nothing sticks. But she didn't stop. She pivoted. A compliance hearing notice appeared in my inbox warning me of daily fines. Then, like clockwork, a city inspection email arrived. Someone had filed a complaint about illegal occupancy and unsafe housing conditions. Anonymous, of course. I sat in my car in the garage that night with the engine off, staring at my steering wheel like it had answers. Not the dramatic kind of despair, just the exhausted kind where your brain starts doing math. How much time do I keep spending on this? How many mornings do I wake up to new threats? Is fighting an HOA like trying to punch fog? And yeah, one ugly thought slipped in. What if I'm the problem? What if there's some rule I missed, some clause I didn't catch, and I'm about to torch my own peace over stubborn pride? Then I pictured Linda on my porch, smiling into my camera, talking about my house like it was her inventory, and the thought hardened into something else. No, this isn't confusion. This is control. The twist came from someone Linda didn't expect to have a conscience, the locksmith. He emailed me a chain of messages and attachments, and right there was the so-called owner consent letter with my name, and a signature that looked like mine if you copied it from a blurry screenshot. His note was short. "This doesn't feel right." I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I got methodical. I saved everything. Full email headers, timestamps, file properties. I called a lawyer, Dana Brooks, and had her send a preservation notice to the HOA and the management company demanding they keep every email, every portal log, every vendor message. Because if Linda forged consent once, she'd do it again. And people like her only quit when they get caught where it matters on paper in daylight. Tuesday morning, my driveway became a stage. Linda arrived in her SUV with Kevin Mills, the property manager, 2 maintenance guys, and of course a different locksmith. Like swapping actors changes the script. The city inspector showed up with a clipboard, and the same patrol officer rolled back in, probably wondering why suburban grass could generate this much chaos. Linda started talking before anyone asked. "We're addressing a homeowner who refuses compliance. We're ensuring community safety." I didn't argue. I handed the inspector my deed and ID and said, "You can inspect whatever you need, but the HOA tried to rekey my home without consent, and they're using a document that isn't legitimate." Linda's smile went sharp. "It is legitimate. Here." She held up a printed letter like it was a magic spell. "Owner authorization." The inspector took it, scanned it, then looked up. "Who uploaded this into the portal?" Linda opened her mouth, confident, ready to steamroll. I flipped my laptop around on the hood of my car. I requested the audit log, I said. "Here's the upload record. Date, time, user." The screen showed it clean as a receipt, 9:12 a.m., uploaded by Linda Parker. The inspector's expression changed instantly. Not anger, worse. The look professionals get when they realize someone tried to drag them into a lie. The patrol officer stepped forward and said calm but firm, "Ma'am, step back from the residence." Linda blinked like she couldn't process the word no when it came from someone with a badge. Kevin Mills went pale. One of the maintenance guys muttered, "I'm not touching anything," and physically backed away like my front door was radioactive. Linda tried to recover. She always tries. "This is a misunderstanding." "The board," the inspector cut her off. "This is a falsified authorization. That's not a misunderstanding." The officer asked for statements. The locksmith admitted he was told there was consent. The property manager admitted Linda pushed the order through. And Linda, for the first time since I moved in, didn't have a speech ready. Donna filed for an emergency restraining order that afternoon, and the judge didn't waste time. HOA wasn't allowed to contact me through vendors, wasn't allowed to represent my home in any placement program, wasn't allowed to claim authority over my locks, my access, or my property. The last image I have of Linda Parker in power is her standing at the end of my driveway, holding legal papers, reading the line that basically said she couldn't come near me or my house without consequences. She looked up like she wanted to say something, anything, to rewrite the moment. But there was nothing left to rewrite. Lesson: if someone tries to turn community rules into personal control, document everything and make them answer in daylight.